underline or something.
red line version?
Every year you don't have to.
And we have that, because like that's how I provide it to the unions to begin with, so yeah, I can sure do that for you guys next time.
The pot.
You stand for
Well,
the.
then change it. I can't get in the white list.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let the record show all members are present. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes from June 22nd?
Second.
21st, 2021 minutes is read, okay. Supervisor Shea, Supervisor Groby, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Next up, we have Sheriff Andy Brown, Lieutenant Rob Ambrose, Sheriff's Office discussion and/or decision to approve and authorize chairman to sign contract with D.R. Anderson Contractors for the Pot County Sheriff's Office expansion project.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Mitchell, second by Supervisor Shea. Okay, who's first? Is it Andy, Rob, who wants to go?
Okay, the agreement between Pot County and D.R. Anderson has been received and is ready for his signature. As part of the agreement, the start date will be 15 days from the notice to proceed with a completion date by July 1st of 2022. Final payment to be received 30 days after the issuance of the architect's final certificate of payment. The contract sum is $2,754,200. As previously stated, there has been some revisions that we're here to discuss or answer questions about. The cost of those changes will be approximately $252,500, bringing that total to $3,600,000 or $6,700. That would include a locker room remodel of approximately $170,000, fitness room changes totaling approximately $20,000, and then, as previously stated, with the construction industry the way it is, they are asking if we would be willing to move from from joist to beams, and that cost is going to be between $40,000 and $50,000. In total, the DLR fees to go through this is approximately $80,000 of that $252,000.
Is that change in this 3,006,000? Okay.
That's it.
Is that 80,000 for DLR, is that the construction management?
That is the redesign fees for the blueprints and I guess the redesign, that's what they're calling them, as redesign fees.
All right, so go over those numbers again, Rob. You said $100,000 for the locker room renovation?
$170,000.
70.
Of that, 135 is for construction and 35 is for the design fees from DLR. The fitness room changes. Originally, the design was $27,500. In those changes, it's actually going to reduce the cost of construction by $7,500, bringing that total to $20,000. And then the change from joist to beams is still being worked out, but they're estimating that being between $40,000 and $50,000. And then of that joist to beams for DLR to go through and I say completely redo their design plans because of that change is going to be an additional $17,500.
There was.
And Rob, this is because you can't procure the beams until next year?
That is correct. I don't remember the exact dates. I want to say it was April, May, June of next year. They were wanting to start on the project, work for 3 or 4 months, and then put everything on hold for 4 months, and then start back up. That was the joist beams.
Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to.
No problem. Rob, there was an alternate in here for, new flooring. Did we accept that? Or not?
There were 3 alternates. Yes, we did. Oh, that was alternate 1 for 14,500. That is part of the initial total that I told you of 2,754,200.
Those alternates, what, 1, 2, and 4? Is that what was-
Correct, yes.
What's the final cost? 3, what was that?
What I came up with, and again, it's approximate, but 3,006,700.
$3,006,700.
Yes.
What's your recommendation on that, Rob?
I think the decision for the joist to beams is the way to go. Rather than, definitely I wouldn't, I hate to say support, but I wouldn't like the idea of the construction company coming in and working for 4 months and then leaving for 4 months and then, leaving it halfway done and then coming back to finish.
We'd go over winter with like that too, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not for that.
Yeah, so I don't think that's the way to go. The locker room and fitness room stuff, I think that is a very good idea, a good way to go. I believe with that work being done, the potential down the road would be to still unfortunately reduce the size of the locker room and add a couple offices if we needed them down the road. So I think there is still room for adding, maybe I should say, we're taking away office space to make this fitness room bigger. So down the road, if we needed the office space, the potential would be there to put them in. So I think it's definitely a win-win. See if the locker room and the fitness room is being used. If it is, that's great for, not only the physical aspect of the employees, but the mental aspect as well.
Now, your workout room's very small, isn't it? Very, very small.
Probably the area you guys essentially,
Yes.
from the gray wall to the tables here, it's very small. With a column in the middle of it too, so you gotta work around that, so.
I don't think any deputies use the workout room at the office now. There are detention officers that'll come down over their lunch break and stuff like that and do things. But it is not being utilized by the deputies. With these changes, like anything new, I think initially people are gonna use it. I would hope that would continue.
How much additional square foot are we actually getting with this?
You talking about the full expansion or the changes we just had?
No, the full expansion year. Was it Marvin? Was that his name, Marvin?
Martin?
Martin. You're not gonna be here, I take it?
They were supposed to be, but I don't know.
I believe if I'm skimming and finding this correctly, I believe it's 6,950.
Okay, thank you. Additional square footage that we're
Yep.
getting, and then whatever the square footage we're rehabbing or whatever.
And then, of course, the last minute change that we had didn't add any square footage, so we just removed a couple offices and made the workout room bigger, so that's,
Is there any equipment in that cost, Rob?
There is not.
Did you know that the jail just bought 3 steppers?
Steppers?
That's, the jail didn't buy 3-steppers. I think we talked about that yesterday. I think the order's been canceled, so.
it has.
And that's for inmates. It's a inmate-friendly, fitness piece of equipment, so it wasn't for the,
Oh,
I thought it was just one, was it 3?
yeah, it was 3.
they were adding a couple
It
pots.
got canceled?
I think Melvin and I talked about it yesterday, so we're having troubles with the billing and.
What was the reason it was canceled?
It's we coming out of Canada,
Yeah, I was at it, that's,
and because of the tax laws and the W-9s and the changes in federal
Oh,
tax
okay.
laws, then
Yep.
it's easier to pay for those things with a credit card. Then the credit card company deals with all of the international tax implications. And there might be a tax treaty, I don't know, so it's
I
just
saw the emails.
kind of a burden, so if they paid for it with a credit card, then it would come out of next year's budget, which Andy didn't want to do yet, so. I think next year, if they need it, you could probably look at your budget in the middle of May and a little earlier, then might be able to buy that. If any foreign purchases would have to be done, should be done with a credit card.
So was it multiple ones or was it one?
I don't know, I think it might have been 3.
I
Don't
didn't
quote me on that though.
I didn't see the invoice. I know Dixie he asked me about it yesterday.
I think,
But do they have steppers in there now?
What's up?
I think maybe one pot has some kind of piece of fitness equipment, so.
I think looking at this, you know, the change in the I-beams and the, you know, versus floor joists, I mean, it's just the reality of the times we're in. I mean, we heard similar things with a different project that we're looking at, and then just in the industry wide that I work in, I see all over the place the price of steel and, you know, getting this stuff. So I think, I think this is a worthwhile change. I do believe we, the board and Andy, need to sit down at some point and figure out how much forfeiture dollars we're gonna use towards this project versus what we're gonna pony up. You know, I think that's not real clear right now, so we just need to get that set in stone. With the the fitness room, you know, when you get the room built, I'm assuming you're gonna wanna purchase more, you know, fitness equipment, things like that too, so.
We'll have to, we have a very small rack of dumbbells. We have an older Smith machine, an older
Yeah.
treadmill, and
So we should probably,
one universal machine, so we'll have to have an update on that.
get an idea of what those costs are, plus like what your furniture costs are gonna be, so we just kinda generally know, okay, I'm gonna have to spend another $100,000 on top of all this to outfit this new addition. That way we know where we're at. But, no, I think this is a good move, I think we need to move
I do
forward.
too.
Well, I'm thinking outside the box right now, but I'm thinking the health and wellness, as Rob stated, is probably something that can be incorporated into the ARP potential funds
Oh,
for
yeah.
the,
Yeah, I mean, one of the webinars I sat into, you know, basically if you're increasing square footage or increasing social distance, so it was kind of allowed that direction, so. So maybe we just have a study session on this particular
But-
topic or something, figure it out.
okay, but just for round numbers real quick, we got the 3 million, and then what? I heard a couple different numbers, but what do you have in your forfeiture funds? I don't think Becky said that yet. I haven't seen it yet.
She did.
Yeah,
It's
she
just-
sent it.
Oh, she did?
Cause even if you did 1.5, the issue though is that we also potentially talked about when we do the jail or the firing range, using $500,000 of his forfeiture dollars for that project, just so we're sharing the burden on that. I mean, no, it's the same in the big picture, but, just wanna make sure we put that out there.
I think I'm reasonably close. It's about 1.65 million is what he has in there.
Yeah,
In there?
sounds right.
Okay.
Pretty close, right in there.
Yeah, right around that.
So
Last time.
we'd be safe at $1 million?
I think if we, I mean, I think we need to have a study session to figure out, because if we can use art money and we can use $1 million of his and then whatever we're gonna, yeah, I think earmarking $1 million is a good idea for sure. It may be a little more than that, but we just gotta figure out.
So if we only did $1 million, we'd leave $650,000 left.
Right, but because $500,000 is gonna go towards that firing range down there, so it's really only leaving them 100 and some
150.
Okay, so it really doesn't matter.
No, like, so I mean, big picture does it, it's the same thing. It's either we can take it out of forfeiture or we're gonna take it out of ours, so.
So your recommendation, Andy, to move forward with this at 3,600,000?
$700, yep.
What's your, does that include contingency? I guess I meant to ask that. So is there a 20%, 10% or something built into that number? No. Or do we need to consider
As
that?
far as a
So-
cost, the approximate cost?
Yeah, so like if our new cost is 3,006,000, I mean, is it really something more than that? I mean, is it
The-
3,060,000 or whatever? I mean, what's the real, you know?
The current contract, the contract sum is $2,754,200. The cost that we brought to you today about the potential changes currently is still an approximate cost of the $252,500.
Yeah. But usually like DLR will build in a contingency as a line item. Do you know if that was on there as part of their scope?
They usually
No.
do that, supervisor shows on an estimate,
Yeah,
not on the actual contract.
well, I guess I just wanna make sure we're all
And there won't
talking
be
the
any
same number.
contingencies in this contract. Anything that changes has to come to us for a change order.
My understanding that those bids came back and that DR Anderson's total contracted sum could not be more than the $2,754,200.
Okay.
Who was the contractor that got this?
DR Anderson.
E.R. Anderson, okay. And doesn't, who's Martin work for,
DLR Group.
I get it.
DRA,
That's why I'm
DLR.
confused. So is there, are they doing some oversight then of this?
DLR Group.
Yes.
They're our architect, so they're getting everything done for us and, I guess, helping us understand some of that stuff. But as far as overseeing, I don't necessarily think they'll have any overseeing. They are coming over, bi-weekly and participating in the contractor owner meetings, so
Okay.
they'll be there with us that way. And my opinion on that is they do give us good information and I believe
Okay.
treat us well that way.
That's good.
Okay, Rob, since Andy said it was his recommendation, I'm gonna assume that it's yours as well.
It is.
All right. We'll call for the vote.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Cool.
So probably, in the next week or two, if we can have a study session, Andy, maybe, talk about those things, with the sheriff's offices and maybe.
Yep, I'll be around.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, next up, we have the law enforcement service contracts between Pot County and the following cities. City of Avoca, City of Carson, City of Crescent, City of Hancock, City of Macedonia, City of McClellan, City of Minden, City of Neola, City of Oakland, City of Trainer, City of Underwood, and City of Walnut.
You beef it up with the McClellan. Write it down.
Andy, did those contracts increase 3% from last year?
No.
Stayed the same as they did at
That
the,
agreement ran out then.
yeah, it was a 3-year, I wanna say it was 3% per year increase on all the town contracts, and we did not renew anything last year besides
They
this.
expired in 2022,
Was this last year then?
so we got one more year to go, so there should be a 3% increase built in.
Okay. Well, Mitch apparently got his already, and,
Well,
or was it
because
3%?
we didn't have to sign anything, so I saw in the back.
Yeah, I thought when Danker left that he said this was the last
Well, these,
of it, but
I can't see what last year's was, but these are all, in the packet here, are all signed already.
Yeah, we signed them 2 years ago or whatever. And it was supposed to be a 3-year deal.
Did you get a new one to sign then?
yeah, you got a new one this year too.
Looks like
I
you
left it in
signed.
your mailbox in City Hall,
Oh, I
so
haven't seen it yet.
you should have, because it's been returned.
I was gonna say, it looks like you had signed it.
No, I delivered
I didn't see.
contracts to every town this
Okay.
year, so.
Yeah.
It was
Maybe
on
it-
honeymoon, so a lot of things happen.
Just been busy, just been signing stuff.
No, McClellan's in there. I saw it.
They shove a lot of stuff at you.
Saw
don't
it.
they?
My question, and it's been the same question almost each time we do this thing. He's about midway through. There's McClellan right there. They just don't have no data on it.
See if
Denise,
you ran radar operations, why
Andy
you
signed it, see
get
right
more
here.
money.
Okay.
Just in Crescent, right?
That's all I care about.
And it says contractual July 1 of 2021 and through there. So this is the same number as last year then? Is that?
Yeah, I wanna say that was in 20 is when the 3% increase ended. This year, there was no increase. But
So did you go and have, or did someone go out and have any conversations with the cities then at all? about
for
the
this year's
contract?
contract?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So there's a total of about 181,000 for the lump sum of all the contracts.
Sounds about right.
Okay. And that goes, those, you send invoices out and the money goes back to you.
As far as I know, it goes to the general, but does it?
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
So you just deposit it, but you're sending out the invoices and getting the checks and then you deposit it in the general fund?
No.
Who sends invoices out? That's our understanding. I mean, when I had Andrew check.
Well, I just delivered the contracts. They agreed to them, but how the billing goes, we have to, Melvin, do you know how the billing goes or how they actually pay for it?
They probably should have an invoice come in, or to them, from you, so we'd have that,
I think the
so they'd have that, paper trail.
Linda,
I think we get a quarterly invoice.
Do you?
yeah, Linda said she invoiced. Andrew called and asked and said she invoices on the side.
It's quarterly.
But then it'd just be a miscellaneous receipt down to the treasurer's
Right,
office.
well, yeah, it says, I think probably goes into that month, he gives us a monthly receipt report out of the
Oh, yeah,
sheriff's office.
right.
It's probably in there, I guess.
Quarterly report. Here's his, gun permits, and if anybody pays for a gun permit these days, I don't know.
So, if we use the 181 number, how many, I guess, sworn officers would be out there in those communities? Is there, in a day, is there 6?
It just varies. I mean, we have different areas broke up, you know, where a deputy will be working 24 hours a day. It just depends
Right.
on if you get to Crescent, get to Underwood,
You just
Neola,
guarantee them so many
McClellan.
hours a week or something.
Yeah, we just,
Right, but
And then an hour a day.
Get 2 drive-throughs a day or something.
you guys are on 8 hours or
we're on 12s now.
you're on 12?
Yeah.
Okay, so at any given time, is there, I guess, 4 in a day? 4 in the first 12 and 4 in the second 12 out in the rural area?
That's our minimum staffing, yes, for the county, yeah.
Okay, so that's 8 people, okay. The only one, and I don't know what the level of calls are, but Shelby is getting more populated in the Pot County side of Shelby than on the Shelby side of
As far as I know, that may just be a Shelby address, but it's not actually Shelby town.
What is it?
The Shelby side in Pot County.
That's in the,
It's city.
that's city.
So you're saying the city of Shelby is getting into Pot County now?
Oh, it has been.
As always was, yeah.
Well, it's good.
Loves,
I
Menards.
guess where we're going is that we probably need to build a,
They annex that stuff.
Oh, did they?
Pardon?
Well, it's.
Rob just said that they annexed down to the.
Oh, yeah,
What charge you bill
we're
per
we're
capita?
about,
That should be a build.
well, it's a conversation. I don't know what the calls for service are out there, but we're actually probably a half mile maybe not quite that, on the north side of that exit is the Pot County line.
Correct.
all the services and that
But
trucking
I'm just saying, a
company
lot
are
of
in.
the
It's
Lot
north
County.
of Corn Crib. It's right at the guy that owns its property line.
is it?
I think so.
It's
But-
that gravel road just south of, or north of the
Well, there's only
restaurants and
about
Dairy
10 or
Queen.
20
There's a creek
people,
that runs
but
through
you're
there, too, and
billed
it's right out.
according to per capita, correct? According to the last sentence?
Good
You
business.
are, but how does that work when,
When you've got Menards and Love's.
Right.
Right, but if the contract says that you're billing per capita,
Well, this contract, I mean, there
No.
may be another one,
maybe you want to take that into consideration as a special contract for.
They don't
maybe
have
we
no
should
law
ask our
enforcement,
county
do they?
attorney.
No, they just use Shelby County, they'll, same thing as us, they'll, the only law enforcement agency in Shelby is either Shelby County or Harlan PD, so.
or who?
Harlan PD. But they wouldn't cover Shelby though, it'd just be Shelby County Sheriff's Office.
It is
But you
interesting
guys
to know how many
cross-
calls you get at the truck stop there, you know, like how many times that we're responding to that, and maybe we can use that as justification to bill them and say, look, we've responded to 100 calls this year. You know.
I think
your
it would be
city.
an instance just like the rest of these contracts. I mean, we are currently not billing them anything. We don't get anything from the city of Shelby.
No, I know that. We haven't for, that's why I'd be interested to see what the calls for, how much, I don't know, let's say it's free they're getting, but, cause they're Menards is proposing a huge expansion out there. And then there's, I think there's a hotel proposed out there and some other type of business around that Loves and stuff. Those all drive potential calls for service and such, and,
We always have,
pardon?
we always have property damage accidents out there, there's disturbances here and there, I mean, we get called there plenty of times, so.
Really?
I mean, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I mean, we can find them, so.
Right.
Andy, is it your plan then to set up a meeting with all the mayors of all the other towns and take a look at this contract and get it renewed?
I assume the board will wanna come with me on that, so. I think you guys did the last time we renewed contracts, cause they
out
sat
in,
stagnant for
Oakland at that
many
time.
years, so.
Sheriff Tinker lined it up, and then we just came. That's how it was.
So you'll start working on that then? I mean, it's important that we get that number to all those small towns before they start preparing their budget, so at least they know there's gonna be, if there is gonna be an increase, how much it's gonna be.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Well, we should, look at that, I don't know, a minimum of, I guess, a 3-year deal, then, propose a 5-year deal, whatever you're comfortable with, but I don't know.
Well, I know there's no catching up to what we've
No,
already had, is it,
no,
do we just set
we're
a
not.
certain number and just, they expect it every year to just
Not
include
necessarily
their?
like massive population growth, but otherwise, yeah, there's no way we'll catch up. Yeah.
And they do pay taxes, county taxes in the city, so. Besides the sheriff's contract.
Well, if I remember from that discussion out in Oakland too, some of it was, we only set it out so far because the new census stats should be coming out for what the actual populations were of each of the
Yeah,
towns.
Right.
in September, so.
So that was part of the deal too.
But just, the operation, the gas and that stuff is going up just a bit, so.
Matt, is there anything, state code or anything, I know you don't know off the top of your head, but that we could possibly bill Shelby?
Yeah, I'm sort of taking a look, I was on the Potco,
Oh.
the assessor's website.
Okay.
I don't know about code wise, there clearly are multiple lots that have been annexed by the city, that are Shelby City, Avoca, HSTW school district that are in Pot County. I think about the only 2 lots I could see that were like south of the interstate were the Menards property and then the truck stop. But those, they're definitely listed as Shelby City. So,
I think that gas station on the north side is also.
sure, yeah, I don't think they probably could have done islands. I can see there's a couple of houses sort of in between the interstate and what you would think of the city that are also Shelby city limits. But then there's a bunch of Shelby ag land in the middle of that too, so it's, I don't see any issue with billing. I mean, if the question is, should we be entering into a contract with them? I mean, vast majority of their city limits are obviously north of the county line, but some pretty significant lots are definitely in Pot
That's where their
County.
money's come from, it's
Yeah.
south of the
Right. This
county
doesn't,
line.
I don't think it makes a difference. This is me just sort of spitballing, but I don't know that it makes a difference that City Hall is in Shelby County. If there are city limits that are in Potawatomi County that they're asking us to patrol, and I certainly don't see an
And we
issue
spend a
with.
lot of time out there.
Would that affect their, you know, how, I mean, the small municipalities contract with the counties to do that, to keep their insurance or something in the code that requires them to do that? Do you have any idea how that would affect Shelby where?
I don't, but I mean, who's patrolling it now? If it's Shelby city limits, I mean, they're responsible, right, for providing law enforcement. They don't have I assume that they use Shelby County Sheriff's Office is generally doing that.
But
So
they
you
don't
have
go
a
out.
sort of a, you have about, I don't know, 10 lots, something like that are probably, I mean, maybe the big ones, but are south of their county line.
So Menards and Love's doesn't pay any Pot County taxes then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they
So
still
the-
pay county taxes.
But then yet they're still considered Shelby City though.
They pay city taxes too.
They just wouldn't be on the rural, right?
Right.
Side.
They're
Rural.
corporate. So, when they go out there, can the Shelby deputies cross the county line and do whatever they do and write their
I think they gotta
citations
pursue
and
'em.
reports and stuff?
Don't
But
they?
Shelby County will not be pleased if they find out they have to start doing that, so.
What's that?
I said they could, but Shelby County would not be pleased if they found out they had to start doing that, if Shelby County Sheriff's Office start responding to calls at Menards and Love's.
So
I mean,
does
it's
it come to dispatch when they call, they call you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just think we need to give it some thought. It's probably not gonna get better, I don't know, by better, I mean, there's probably gonna be more calls for service out there at that exit as, like I said.
Well, especially put up a hotel and other stuff and an expansion of Menards, I mean, I don't think Shelby County would have the manpower to even handle it, so.
When we do the cities meeting like we did before, could we bring them in?
Shelby County?
Shelby City? I mean, does that sound like, at least
Well, I would.
let them know what we're thinking?
Well, after you look at your numbers, I'd probably, and you maybe not know Ron, I'm pretty sure he's still the mayor out there, Ron Kroll, I believe it is.
I think,
Pardon?
go ahead.
I just might, make a call and see if you can go out and have a visit with him and say, here's what we're seeing and,
Are these contracts set up per capita? Is that sort of how the
Yes.
pricing goes? So I'm just saying, that's the struggle, right? The per capita, the people that live south of the county line are gonna be like 3. I mean, it's,
Right.
you've
That's
got like
it.
one house and a couple of big businesses. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'm just looking at it from,
well, he's got another, section in here, Matt, that
Special assessment.
that he charges, for an hour of, 1 hour for 365 days a year, that he's charging $9,294 for, which isn't a per capita number. I don't know where that number derived from. Do you?
Costs,
So,
if I remember right.
actually, the only city in Pot County, trainer contracts for 2 additional hours, which is actually more money than what their per capita rate is. So I don't know, I just think we spend resources there that I don't know that other counties would potentially do and not want to get some sort of, no, I mean, we're not.
Yeah, I mean, we
100%.
guarantee them an hour a day of just, which we honestly give them all more. I mean, because we'll do reports sitting in town, stuff like that,
Right,
being
right,
someplace.
right.
We do all the calls for service, but we just guarantee them an hour per day. Now, Shelby's never been on the radar till 15 minutes ago, so. And I had no idea even that Shelby had annexed part of that, so.
We actually talked out at that Oakland meeting about it 3 years ago or whenever it
Well, I've
was.
talked to Jeff, I guess, multiple times about Shelby and how busy that interchange was and how even, you know, how it's gonna probably get more busier with truck traffic and stuff out there with.
We probably need some guidance on this.
Okay. Well, I don't know
Well,
if there's any
I
other
mean, that's-
situations like
Part of it's a
that.
legal question, but part of it's a political question and who should pay what for what. That's an interesting deal when you don't really have, I mean, is the city of Shelby wanting you to patrol? I mean, even if they don't, I mean, they do have part of their city limits that are not getting, you know,
Which probably,
contracted to, for people to patrol on. So, I mean, they probably shouldn't.
which they
Well,
should have to. by
It's
state
probably
law.
more of an issue, honestly, for whoever the city attorney is of Shelby. I mean, I'm sure Shelby doesn't wanna pay any
Well,
extra,
don't you
but
think they have similar agreements with Shelby County, with the communities that are in Shelby County as most?
I would assume that they would, but.
They do the same thing, or
Do you-
did, I should say did,
Similar.
yes.
do you want me to reach out? I could reach out to whoever the Shelby city attorney is and
Well,
just
yeah.
ask them. I will do that.
Yeah,
And just tell them this came up. I'm sure they're gonna go, great, this is a fun call. But I mean, at some
But
point.
there's gotta be other cities in Iowa
right.
that are cross.
Well, what's,
On the board.
what is Shenandoah? I'm trying to think of like Shenandoah and Clarinda.
They have their own police department.
Oh, good.
Shenandoah does.
How about Clarinda?
They're-
Yeah, Brenda has her own PD as well.
Okay, well, that ends that.
And like Avoca has, so we don't know how much that crosses up into Shelby County, they would still be patrolling.
That goes back and forth though. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't.
It might be.
Yeah, he's pretty much a Monday through Friday, normal business hour kind of a
Right.
patrolman, but that's just the way they have his contract set
And
up,
then you
so.
guys still have.
And we handle everything
control.
else, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's just, FYI,
But I don't think the vote is the issue when it comes to two different jurisdictions though,
No,
because
it's not.
they pretty much end on Shelby
Right.
hotline, so it's.
yeah, if you could just, kind of see what the calls for service the last few years are and see what that number looks like, I mean, at least we can start monitoring it and stuff, so. Those would make, I don't know how many deputies they have in Shelby County, but they probably not like the additional work, I'm guessing, but.
Just make a motion to approve this.
Oh,
I'd make a motion.
I'll second it, and my last comment is, Andy, if you set up a meeting with all those mayors, I'd be happy to go with you.
I would too.
All right, I'll call for the vote. I call for the vote.
yeah, I tried to do it out at Oakland again, I think that's kind of a central location, if we can do it there.
Not if you live in Crescent.
Well, that's not where we're at.
I think we have.
At the central shop on 340th then.
All
It's a little
those,
closer yet.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hey,
guys.
one thing before you leave, because we're gonna talk about capital improvements later. Have you guys, is there a radio group, or do you guys meet on those radios and stuff?
There's not any official radio group set up yet,
Okay,
but there's been a few side meetings
Could you
unofficially.
guys get something done with that, because we need to have a number for that,
Need to get the
with
number
our,
tightened up,
for our,
see where we're at.
our
Yeah, I know
funds.
the city finance reached out to us, when you guys apparently talked to her and wanted a number, so
Right,
I think what she gave you was pretty close, so.
for you and everybody? For everybody?
The number that she gave you, that you thought that was gonna be the number, was pretty accurate, I think, from what I hear. Just rumor though, I'll give you
Well,
something.
you wanna
Is
show-
that the 5 million?
Maybe, I thought it was more closer to 6, but.
Okay.
Well, you wanna check with E911 and EMA and everybody to try to get us something, so.
I think everybody's kind of agreed to what kind of numbers we're at. We're still having a little trouble with the volunteer fire departments, because their numbers are higher than what I think they probably should be, so we're just trying to get them scaled back a little bit, so.
Okay. Well,
We're getting close.
okay. Cause I think there's a possibility to use some funds for that, so, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the revisions to the employment agreement and authorize the chairman to sign the employment agreement with county engineer John Rasmus.
Got a motion,
I'll second that.
I wanna do that.
motion.
Hope you stick around.
I'll let you know. Show me where it is.
Okay. Discussion.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Good to see you, Rob, thanks very much.
Listen,
can you text Jason to see if they can shut that off for about another hour?
You know what, everybody in the courthouse is dealing with it.
Where they?
Talk to Matt, he says he's got attorneys up there, the court don't stop.
What's up?
We have a motion and a second on that, we vote on that, yeah?
No.
John, do you have any comments?
No, just the revisions were to kind of recognize
I thought,
Code 309. There was a commitment section in there I had some heartburn with, and there was no section in there for the employee to resign, so I put that in there with 30 days notice.
Yeah. Just let me know what you think of it.
this is just a one-year contract, huh, John?
That's right.
Okay. And then,
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
okay, thanks, Andy. Okay. And then the $5,000 bond, that was the question. Do you do that every year then?
It's been an addendum for the board to do that, so it's, yeah, it's required by code.
So have we been doing it?
I think the board secretary did it last time, I'll have to check.
I don't.
Or it hasn't been done.
No, I'm talking about the noise.
You like that, don't you, Matt?
I love it.
I'll sit a little closer, might help.
So you don't know if we got it done or not then?
No.
Okay.
Are you gonna follow up with Amy about, or Andrew about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion on that? I can't believe the other one, your other engineers don't have to be bonded too, but I guess you're the only one that's gonna get who falls on the top guy. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, next up,
Looks like you got a job, John.
what's that?
I provided you a legislative copy, but here's a clean copy of that.
So, just going to,
I'll just pick it up from Andrew on that one.
well, then, does it go to Jana?
Yes,
Yes.
I need a copy and then I give payroll a copy.
Okay, it's different than the one that's in the packet here, I take it?
You had a
No.
legislative version in your packet with the
Okay,
changes highlighted, and that's just a
so
cleaner
you want me
copy.
to give this to Andrew then?
Yes, or I can.
Okay, well, let me do that. Okay, next up, we have Jana Limerick, HR, discussion decision to approve and authorize board to sign 21-22 union contracts between Pot County Sheriff's Office, General Drivers and Helpers, Union Local Number 554, affiliate of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Potawatomi County Detention Officers.
I was just gonna say, that's a lot to say. It's between Pot County and the detention officers at the jail.
So move.
That's this first one.
I'll second it.
Okay,
For sake of discussion, I'd like to, is there a different way to negotiate this? It sure seemed like we really drug out this year.
yeah, it did.
Rob, we just need to start it earlier, that's all.
Yeah, we definitely.
Well,
Well, a lot of times, so in the past, Mary would start in maybe November. And I did have calendar invites to the unions in December, but then we were waiting for some budget numbers come end of January, beginning of February, and then we didn't actually start till February, so.
it just needs to be done before we announce our budget. 'Cause
Yes.
That was,
Mess.
that's all I'm gonna say, it just needs to be done.
So,
partially our fault.
No, I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just.
No, I agree. And then it's the ability to potentially negotiate more than 1 year deal, so you're not dealing with it every year.
Yes, 100% on that, multi-year
is,
contract.
is helpful also, even from budgeting and other standpoints. But, so, I just want to make sure I understand. So, in this group here, July 1, did everyone get a 2.5?
Everyone gets a minimum of a 2.5. It could be a little more based on where they go in that new step and grade, as we had looked at that, correct,
But everybody's getting a 2.5.
correct.
We haven't done anything with the ones that are, I don't even know if there's any in this bucket that are over,
They're still getting a 2.5, correct. So just like they would have done last year,
yeah,
yes.
until we get time to go through
It'll kind of be
those.
phase 2, yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Any other discussion with that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Agreement between Pot County and Pot County Sheriff Deputies Association for July 1 of 2021 through June 30 of 2023.
So move.
Second.
Okay, any discussion with this? The only discussion is, like I said, Janet, it'd be nice if they're gonna be every year to get, if anything changes in those, what the changes were.
Legislative copy, you betcha. Yeah.
Is that what they call that, a legislative copy?
Mm-hmm. Like what John was referring to, his contract that he gave you was red line to show changes.
Right. I didn't
Yep,
realize they
definitely.
called that legislative. And the only other one I saw in this one, I don't know if it was in the rest of them, the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
there's 10 of them.
Mhm.
And the
Was that
day,
including the new one?
No,
no, and the Friday after Thanksgiving, it really isn't a known holiday. It's something that somewhere along the line the board has chosen to do, right?
right, it's not like an observed holiday, say federal holiday, it's just something that Potawatomi County has chosen to do.
Okay,
Probably because so many people always take that day off anyway in the past, so it was just, and I could go back and figure out.
Isn't it in
when.
lieu of another
It is in lieu of another holiday.
President's
No,
or
it's
Columbus?
President's Day.
well, we don't
Day.
do Christmas Eve.
We don't do
Valentine's Day?
Columbus Day,
No,
so
we
maybe it
don't
is
do-
in lieu of Columbus Day.
We
I'm not
don't do
sure.
New Year's Eve.
Right, we don't
So-
do, but we've talked in the past though about maybe we should look at Christmas Eve because so many people just take it off anyway. But that's not what we're talking about now, sorry, I don't mean to take us down a rabbit trail.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign.
That is a 2-year contract, okay.
Correct.
Make sure.
Memorandum of understanding between Pot County and ASME Local 2364 roads employees. What's the difference between the memorandum and the contract?
Well, the difference with that memorandum is that with the chapter 20 changes and supplemental pay is not a permissive topic, so we pulled out some of those supplemental pay items and put them in an MOU. It's the same MOU we had last year as well. And that's something that really could go into the department policies, but the union has wanted that to stay, a legal document for right now, and that's fine.
Right, so moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Memorandum of understanding between Pot County and ASME Local 2364-911. same thing?
Same story, yep.
I'll move for discussion.
I'll second.
Jen, is there any monetary changes in this from last year?
The CTO and training pay is going up by 50 cents. Went from $1.50 to $2 an hour.
Did we negotiate that?
Well, it's not necessarily a negotiable, did I say that right, item, because it is a permissive, we don't have to. We've had a lot of conversations with that group about their training pay, and they really feel that it should be higher. So, we've had conversations with the administrative and leadership team as well about, is there something different we need to do for this training to make sure that the new hires get the proper training, but that our current staff are compensated appropriately. So even the additional 50 cents, they would like more, but we went 50 cents this year, and then we'll continue to address that, see how we need to alter it, and is there something different that we can do, creating a different position, or who knows what. Taking a look at that.
Is that a conversation? So. Recall that, but. Did we get a second on that?
Yep. Any other?
What happens with that pay is they're paid that while they're doing the training. So it's not as though that gets added into their base pay, it's while they're training the new hire. So it's not something that's paid all the time. If that helps with the explanation of it.
They only get paid if they're training.
Right.
And I assume Bob's has to be the one responsible for taking care of that.
Setting of the training and such is, yeah. And of course, the employees have to be, trained to train.
Right.
Yeah.
Training to train.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Passes. Okay.
Yeah, go up for the water tortures last.
I see Jason walking around out there.
Is that just from the hammer out front here?
I don't know where they're at.
I think next to
Sidewalk, right?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second that.
Pursuant to code of Iowa 21.5, parent 1, parent I, for discussion and or decision on personnel matters. So, Tim.
Got it. No worries.
Thank you.
Just let me know.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, did you second it?
Brian did.
Okay.
Chairman Bell,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
and Groby.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.